Jarlow the Vampire Bulldog, a Midnight Voices AI Vox Christmas horror story. The wind howled through the Spanish moss that hung from the oak trees behind St. Augustine's nursing home. The air that night was thick and warm, as only a New Orleans winter could be, the kind that fooled you into thinking it wasn't December at all. But inside, the halls glowed with cheap tinsel, fake snow, and the forced cheer of an underfunded holiday party. Kevin and Blair had brought Jarlow, their beloved English bulldog, to spread Christmas joy to the residents. It was a yearly tradition, one that Kevin's mother, Barbara, always looked forward to. Jarlow, wearing his little red Santa hat and jingling collar, was the star of the evening. The old folks adored him. He rolled over for biscuits, barked on command, and let everyone rub his wrinkled face. For a while it felt like Christmas was still something magical, something safe. But magic never lasts long in Louisiana. After the laughter died down and most of the residents drifted off to bed, Jarlow gave a low whimper and glanced at the door. He needed to go outside. Kevin chuckled, clipped on the leash, and said, "All right, buddy. Let's go potty." Blair joined him, wrapping her scarf tighter as they stepped into the cold night air. The nursing home's floodlights cast a dim glow across the parking lot, but beyond where the light ended, there was nothing but blackness and woods. After Jarlow tugged to go. "Jarlow, not that way," Blair said nervously. But Jarlow was stubborn. He growled softly and pulled toward the shadows, Kevin followed, flashlight in hand. "Just for a minute," he said. "He'll be quick." They crossed the edge of the lot and into the tree line. The air grew still. Even the crickets were silent. Jarlow stopped suddenly, ears perked, and gave a deep, guttural growl. "What's wrong, boy?" Kevin asked. Then came the sound, a high-pitched ringing, like glass vibrating. A black blur shot across the trees, faster than any animal had the right to move. Jarlow barked once, then broke free of his leash and tore into the darkness. "Jarlow!" Kevin shouted, chasing after him. Blair stumbled behind, her breath turning white in the cold. They followed the barking until it stopped altogether. Then they saw it, the old cemetery, half hidden behind a chain-link fence, its iron gate bent open like the mouth of something waiting to feed. "Kevin," Blair whispered, "let's go back." Boy Kevin spotted Jarlow's wagging tail behind a broken tombstone. Relief rushed through him until he saw the man standing just beyond. He was tall, pale, dressed in tattered black clothes from another century. His skin glowed faintly in the moonlight. His eyes were dead white, and when he smiled, his teeth shone like needles. The man hissed, and Blair screamed. "Run, Blair! Run!" Kevin yelled. Jarlow leapt between them, snarling, but the pale figure moved faster than thought. He grabbed the bulldog mid-air, and before Kevin could blink, Jarlow let out a yelp that shattered the night. The vampire's mouth latched onto the dog's neck. Kevin froze. Blair yanked his arm, screaming again, and dragged him back toward the parking lot. They didn't stop running until they reached the light. The vampire didn't follow. He stayed in the dark, watching, his mouth smeared with crimson. Inside, Barbara was waiting in her wheelchair near the nurse's station when they burst in. Kevin was pale, trembling. "Mom had killed him," he whispered. "That and something bit Jarlow." Barbara's face went cold. "So it's true," she said quietly. "The stories. The vampire from across the lot. Every Christmas Eve, he tries to feed on us. But the building's been blessed. Father O'Reilly used holy water on every doorframe after the attacks in the 80s. That's why you can't get in." Kevin's hand shook. "Then he's out there. Jarlow's gone." Barbara reached out, tears in her eyes. "Let's pray that's all that's gone." But it wasn't. In the cemetery, the vampire crouched over the bulldog's body, licking the blood from his lips. He thought it was over, that he'd simply fed on a foolish pet. But as he turned to vanish into the night, something stirred. The corpse twitched. The dog's eyes snapped open, milky, red vein and wrong. Its jaw stretched wider than a bulldog's ever could, the teeth lengthening into small, curved fangs. The vampire stepped back, confused, hissing, but Jarlow growled, deep and feral. In one unnatural motion, he lunged and bit the vampire's hand. The creature screamed as smoke hissed from his wound. Jarlow's form pulsed with a dark energy, and then he was gone, vanished into the night, like the shadow that bit him. An hour later, the staff at St. Augustine's heard scratching at the door. "Must be the wind," one nurse muttered. But the scratching grew louder, turning into pounding. Then came a crash of breaking glass. "Jesus!" someone shouted. Jarlow burst through the entrance like a cannonball of muscle and teeth, his tin hat untorn from one ear. His eyes burned like twin coals. The first man he saw was Mr. Delacroix, a retired preacher who spent every night watching the snow fall through the window. Jarlow lunged. The old man didn't even have time to scream. Blood sprayed the wall. Kevin and Blair ran into the hallway, horrified. "No!" Kevin yelled. "Jarlow, stop. It's me!" But the creature that had once been Jarlow didn't know him anymore. The love was gone, replaced by hunger. He dropped the body and turned toward the next room. Then came a deeper voice, a hiss that filled the corridor. The vampire. He'd followed Jarlow across the light, now able to cross freely because the bulldog's blood had tainted the blessing that kept him out. The fire alarms blared as screams erupted through the nursing home. Lights flickered. The halls filled with chaos. Nurses ran, residents cried out, and Jarlow tore through anyone who moved. Barbara prayed aloud in her wheelchair as Blair dragged her toward the chapel. Kevin stayed behind, swinging a metal Roman four-pole at the approaching vampire. It barely slowed him. When the morning sun finally rose, St. Augustine's was quiet. Blood streaked the walls. The smell of iron and smoke lingered. The police would later describe the scene as inhuman. Only a handful of survivors remained: Kevin, his mother Barbara, Blair, and a few shaken staff members who hid in the laundry basement until dawn. The rest were drained. Outside, on the snowy lawn, a small red Santa half fluttered in the breeze. And somewhere in the woods, a low growl echoed Jarlow's growl, followed by the soft jingle of the bell collar fading into the mist.